Good morning, everybody. Just a good old early start today. I'm Keegan. Welcome back to the channel. A little bit of sun going on, even though it's over there. It's over there too. It's crazy. Today we're gonna be continuing to rip apart the Z, and I've already gotten all the interior pieces out. That's what this is. Good old listed it on the marketplace. Most of the dash has been taken out, and give you a better view. Give me 1 second. It's the beauty of walking. All the wiring, trying to keep it a little bit together, that way if I do need any connectors to adapt it, I should only need the rear light harness, but all this came out. What a puzzle that was, but it would have been boring to watch, so I figured I'd skip it. Got a few relays over there. The pedal assembly will just leave for kind of structure. Get those vents out today, but it's starting to look like home, like the good old other Z. Threw up a quick little short video on that. Trying to do something more detailed when I know for a fact she's running right. The AFR is still bouncing. I keep getting bad sensors. I'm just gonna call it unlucky at this point. The shell of this car was pretty solid. Obvious, the good old Datsun spots that are just everywhere. That happens, but for the most part, rails solid as hell. This piece, it looks bad, but it's just flaking. The head started. I'm gonna front clip it when that time comes. Thankfully I have a welder come in, so I can start bracing it, cutting it, and sizing it up on the other car. But today we're gonna probably take the steering column. I'm gonna probably refurbish this one and use it on the other Z when I hook up power steering to it. What luxuries. We've come so far in the Z community. I'm so proud. I do have this piece, an extra one in here. Not there. It's somewhere in this mess. And we'll be replacing that when the welder comes, because obviously it's not in the best shape. It's a pretty easy piece to replace though. These pieces, I'm debating making little carbon copies. We'll get some practice. And for the bottom, good old gas tank. These 78Zs were 1 year only gas tank. I believe this one is bigger than mine because it has the half size spare instead of the full size spare, but gonna drop all of everything. If somebody needs A-arms, then they can have them. Nothing like the rite of passage of doing a Datsun control rear arm. That still has Datsun part number on it. Get up. That's crazy. But we'll be a little productive today. Let's see what's all going on. I'm glad to see no rust splitting from there. It won't matter, but that's just so I know the rest of the car's in decent shape regarding the quarters. And we're gonna get to it. Dropping peeling everything back out, continuing to rip out the harness. There shouldn't be much left at all, just that I believe it's fuel pump wiring and the light harness. And then I'll start with the front, drop it down, and I'll start with the rear and get everything out. We'll get you back. And don't you love discovering differences in cars after you've bought them? This is a good clunk. That's metal. This is a Bondo quartered panel. So looks like the work has increased, but I believe there's companies now that sell that whole panel. I'm guessing someone drilled holes to fit and hold their massive Bondo piece. All of this doesn't belong. And they just kind of pressed it, pushed it through, and that's how it's holding. It's not as fun as finding shotgun shells and Datsuns, but it's a find nonetheless. More out, back to it we go. Success. We have done it. All these evap lines, this was a California car, so they were a bit extra on how they did things, but she's out. It looks pretty solid up here. It'd be a shame if the hole underneath the car left the body. All these lines got cut, had to jack it up to clear. This tank is the bigger version because there was the half size spare and the fuel injection. So it's, I'm pretty sure the biggest tank you can get for a Z. I believe it's 18 gallons, but I'm not sure. Let's get back to it. But if anyone knows what this little sensor is. It was mounted right here. Whether that has to do with temperature on a California car or not, the connector is stock. And it went into the main harness. Now it's officially out. All this got cleaned up. It's interesting to see the stuff that some of these Z's go through. This is house wire, and I don't even know what these are for. Maybe little tweeters. All of this sketchy wiring. It's the last bit, and then the harness is free. The rear of the car is free. I think I'm gonna drop her on the ground. Alrighty, time for the front to come down. 3 pillar bolts. There's 2 bolts supporting the cross member, and there's 1 bolt right there for the trailing arm, control arm, and that should be it to slide it forward. I think I'm gonna have to do the sway bar bolts as well, but we're gonna see if we can keep it in 1 unit and then just kind of split it on sides, because I'd like to have the cross member as a spare, and I'd like to rebuild this steering rack, even though it won't be used for this car. A little reliable, but I need one, so it's good to have one on the swap out. See if I can mess with the lockouts to keep them from there's like a spacer here right in there. It acts as a shim to keep it from going past full lock, so I'm not sure if we can cut that down or space it out. That way I can get a bit more angle just for a little bit of hooning. Pending non-existent budgets, just wanted to go through a little bit of the struggle when you just have 2 hands. Gotta use 1 hand to hold this, 1 hand to hold this. You're trying to keep tension at the same time to drop these. Not sure how creative we're gonna have to get to hold the car up and slide the subframe out from underneath the jack. Have to be a little swapperoo. I apologize for the nature blowers, dust relocators going on in the background. There's like 4 of them for 10 square feet of yard with 3 leaves in it. And I just wanted to share that. A little bit frustrating, but at least they broke loose. And this side's much easier than the other side. Had to lean it against the strut tower. But this one's coming out slowly but surely. A testament to how good the front clip of this car is. Really debating on using it on the other Z. I don't know. We'll find out. Another live update. This side dropped down. Saved the top for last. So we did the strut tower bolts, and I relocated the jack before I ended up dropping the other side. That way I don't need another person. And we're gonna just give this a little whirl, and she should just drop right down. Boop. That's it. We're gonna cut the brake lines real quick, and it should be time to roll out. I loosened that bolt right there on the good old steering column, and we're gonna pull her straight forward. Just 1 more step of the project, and I think we're gonna go ahead and cut this with the Sawzall. I like this corner right here before the firewall. I'll do the firewall in a different piece in case somebody else or I end up using it. But there's this fold right here. I'm gonna try to do it in an angle. That way if I or somebody else ends up using this clip, they can kind of split it and slip it over, drill some holes, and then throw some welds in on top of the original body they have. And the way you can see it structured, good old over here, battery tray, common rest spot for these. Just the nature of Datsuns. The same thing, we're gonna try to follow this line, and then a little bit extra. And you can kind of see where they did that from the factory along this line. All this stuff's in the way, but there's a seam here, but we'll just kind of move that seam up. That way somebody else can reattach it if needed. No scraps. No scraps. Everything's getting used. It may be a while, but it's not gonna go to waste, trust me. And we're gonna get back to it. It's a boy. We're gonna call him Cooper. I don't know why, but she's out. A little bit of progress, and still looking solid. Same thing. I don't know why I'm showing you an empty engine bay. Sorry, but we're going to separate these arms. Somebody can take them. Usually Technosway Tuning, yeah, use cores. I think Apex Engineer does too. That might just be a Techno thing, so don't quote me on that. But I'm only after this and 100% this, because my steering column is bent, and when you turn you can feel it literally rubbing against the headers on the motor. So we're gonna see if we can pop these loose real quick. That might be concerning, but we got some good old curl. If anything, we'll let it sit and then come back to it later. There's no hurry really to take this apart now it's out of the way. And we're gonna start cutting. Put probably these two, maybe 2 center blocks right here into the subframe. The responsible thing to do would be to remove the brake booster, but won't be shooting sparks, and there's really not a lot in there. But we might drain it a little bit more, cut the line, let it go on the ground. It's probably not any safer, but we'll figure it out. All right, and live action. She's been cut. Had to make some little arrangements. Had to happen, but we've improvised. I did go back a little bit like I wanted, not as far back as I wanted, but it kept it separate from the firewall right here and the outer shell. I believe we have one more cut on that side, so we're gonna make that and then pull it. Right now we got the car on center blocks. Gas tank's already been dropped. It's no longer an issue regarding fire. Had to cut through the speedo cable. Don't plan on using that, but we're gonna stretch it down and get to it. I wonder where it got dragged off to. All right, it's been relocated. The front clip, that is. I have mad scientist here going on. I'm a mess. But progress is progress. I would remove all these lines, but all of this straight back to the tail lights is getting removed. We're gonna wait till I have the welders so I can brace the car before we get in and all that. But I'm real happy that we got all this done. I really wasn't expecting to do all this, but I also wasn't expecting that cross member to be that annoying to remove. Brake lines got cut. It's really everything. A lot of progress today. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. And stay tuned. More episodes coming for the project. And take it easy. Have a good day. I'm about to go shower and edit this and throw it up. Beep boop.